Hi, my name is Vitaly Pavlenko, and today I'm gonna present you my tool, rawl.rocks, which is a website that helps you visualize the structure of Western music using 12 colors. So today I'm gonna show you several pieces, and we're gonna start with a tune from Jan Diersen's soundtrack for the film Amélie. We're gonna listen half of it, and then we'll talk a bit, and then we'll listen to the rest. Okay, so let's stop here and let's discuss what we've seen and heard so far. So this piece is using 7 of the 12 notes. Let's see exactly which ones. Counting inside of one octave, it's white, then it's red, dark green, pink, gray, then blue sporadically, and orange. So only 7 out of 12. 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7. So this piece, according to these scales on the website, is actually in natural minor. This is one of several pieces, and actually many pieces are using just these 7 notes. And out of these 7 notes, the white one is the main one, which we could call 1 or the tonic, and we count all other notes starting from it. So what else is happening here? Well, basically we have the primary texture that's accompanying to the melody. So the texture is playing 3 notes of the chord in every bar, as you can see. And the chord is changing, like which 3 notes are picked to be played are changed every time. But every 4 measures, everything repeats. As you can see, these chords on measures 5, 13, 21 are all the same. They have the same 3 colors, white, dark green, and gray. And my system shows you a legend, with which help you can see that this chord is called, in Roman numeral analysis, it's called 1 minor chord in minor. So this piece is a natural minor, and out of the big palette of chords in minor, it only uses 4 chords, 1, flat 3 major, 5, and flat 7 major. So these chords are playing beneath the melody, and here the melody is playing in the single voice. So this is basically the melody, and the chords underneath is the accompaniment. And every 4 measures, the texture is changed. So here, for instance, the melody is more intricate. It has passing notes, auxiliary notes, and here the melody is more plain. It's moving in longer lengths of notes, and here the texture is more fine-grained. So here the several notes are used instead of a single voice smooth melody, and the notes that are played in this texture are also drawn from the same chord that is currently playing. So the melody generally and should be in harmony, as they say, with the chords beneath. That is, you may notice if you analyze this melody, that for instance in this measure, the melody primarily notes are dark green and gray. And these 2 colors are also happening in these chords. Here the red doesn't follow this rule, but the dark green one does. Here the red and dark green also does this, and here the red also follows this rule. So that's how the melody is coming with the harmony or with the chords. By harmony, I simply mean the chords, or like which notes are played simultaneously, or as in this case, arpeggiated, but kind of constituting the chords of this measure. So now let's discuss what we're gonna hear in the second part. So let's compare this line with this line. Well, basically they're the same, it's just the melody here is gonna be played one octave above. So the melody is gonna be the same, but as you see, there's one octave in the middle and no notes are playing in it. And this pattern actually is preserved. Let me actually make this a bit tinier so that you can see the bigger picture. So the next half is basically the same idea, that the melody throughout these entire 3 lines is gonna be played one octave above, comparing to the arrangement that was made previously. And then we'll ending with our main chord built on a tonic note, which is 1. So let's hear it. Okay, so which other compositional tools we can see here? So for instance, here in this last line, these notes are passing notes. So as you can see, the red to dark green to pink, they're kind of making a smooth line in this middle voice, so that this line goes and makes sense by its smoothness. Well, here, instead of one voice, we kind of have 2 voices, so there's a doubling in some interval, maybe that's a sixth or something like that. And one more thing about this course, how these courses exactly are built. So remember, we have our scale, which is a natural minor scale, and what is this course is in relation to this scale, for instance, white, dark green, gray. So 1, flat 3, 5 here, flat 3, 5, flat 7 is here, 5, flat 7, 2 here, and then flat 7, 2, 4 for this chord. Well, as you can see, the chords are built by skipping one note. We take one note, skip, take, skip, take. And this is the general principle in the entire Western harmony. In the entire Western music, it's most likely that we use the scale that's consisting of 7 notes out of the all 12 notes available in each octave of the piano. And you also build the chords which use 3 notes in this rule: take 1, skip 1, take 1, skip 1, take 1. As they say in music theory, they're built in thirds, in a third stacked, and then you play the piece using these chords. And let's see if that holds true in other pieces in Western music. And let's play the Feliz Navidad. I will play it in the whole first, and then I'll explain you how it corresponds to the Amélie and what has changed here and what are the chords. So as you can see, this piece is a bit different, and this piece is in a major mode. Let's see here. This is a major scale built from, again, the white notes. It has these three notes kind of natural or sharp, as they say. So instead of flat 3, it plays natural 3. Instead of flat 6, it plays natural 6. Instead of flat 7, it plays natural 7. And in my coloring, there is a very simple metaphor for these colors. So black keys on the piano are darker shades of the same colors corresponding to them in the white keys as they are flattened. So for instance, 2 is red and flat 2 is kind of a dark red. And 3 is light green and flat 3 is the dark green. So because of this choice of the palette, what we'll get is that the minor mode pieces on the whole, as you see them on the bigger picture, they look darker than the major mode pieces. So here is a dark minor mode piece. Here is a bright major mode piece. There's something happening in here where we're gonna discuss shortly in Habanera. So Entertainer, for instance, even from the first look, you can immediately see as you scroll it through that it's all consistently throughout in major, but using a bit more notes. And then here in Sonata of Beethoven, as you can see, this part is in minor, whereas this part is in major mode. So that's one metaphor. And let's also think about that a bit. So you may know that in solfege, there's a battle between those who count the standard minor scale from like from this note, or those who do it from movable do. So I'm gonna show you, the choice I made is primarily because I've seen a lot of modal interchange. So I decided that for me, showing the relation within the parallel keys is more important than within the relative keys. It has its drawbacks, but I'm gonna show you what it gave me nevertheless. And before that, let me explain you briefly the harmony of Feliz Navidad. So here the chords are kind of like more conceptual, and they are instantiated in more diverse ways. So for instance, again, we can see here that this is 4 chord, this is 5 chord, and this is 1 chord. But not all notes of the chord are needed for the arranger to be played on all the times for it to constitute the chord and be heard as the chord. So for instance, here in the start, and now I encourage you to replay it afterwards, as you can see, the white note is missing, but still the feeling of the chord is there. And for instance, here there's also a substitution. Instead of the 5/7 dominant, it uses the 5 dominant, and that also works perfectly fine. And here what's happening is that it's the only line where this 1 chord sonority is enhanced with this light blue note, giving it a 6 vibe. And let me briefly explain you another metaphor in my coloring. So why I sorted the chords in this very strange order, in thirds, this 1, 3, 5. Normally, if you see how the chords are structured in other places, they're structured either just one by one, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or they are sorted in order of the circle fifths. The reason why I do it in thirds is exactly because if we move in thirds, then we always change only the 1 note. So here we change the red note, we replace it with the white note, and we move from 2 chord to 4 chord. And the feeling of a chord changes just a bit. And in the music theory, this conception is called functions. So notes which are living, chords which are living here or here in a minor mode, these are called predominants, or maybe previously it was called subdominants. And chords are living here, which are called the tonic chords. But sometimes 3 and 6 are also positional substitutions for the tonic chords. And when I say function, what they essentially what they mean is that the chords sharing the same function are usually used in replacing one another in reharmonizations or in the same patterns, in the same schemas that are used throughout the music. And here the dominants are living. And when you're ordering the chords like that, and then when you color the notes of pick the notes so that the coloring is going in thirds in the rainbow spectrum, then what you get is you get the shades of the predominance are in bluish colors, in how do they call the cool colors. Let me show you my hint here. So predominants are in cool colors, whereas dominants are going to be in warm colors. Major mode is brighter and the minor mode is darker. So that's the primary intuition behind the primary metaphors which I try to bake into this coloring. So this coloring is specifically for the Western music, Western harmony. If we try to apply it to any other traditions throughout the world, it needs to be reconsidered and tweaked and maybe changed. Now with that, let's hear the Habanera, the aria from the Georges Bizet's opera. And here the interesting thing is happening. I'll show you. Let's analyze it visually first, actually. So here, as you can see, we start in a dark mode. So let's have our minor, and let's actually make a harmonic analysis first visually and then hear it. So as you see here in the first 7 measures, the chord is most likely arpeggiated here in this interesting pattern. And this is the same chord which we've seen before everywhere. It's the main chord, the 1 chord. We can see it by so that it shares the same 3 colors. You see this 1 chord, it's the 1 chord in major mode. Here is the 1 chord in minor mode. So the main way you use my system is that once you remember visually how every chord is looks like, which 3 colors it has, you remember it, and then you make the harmonic analysis of every new piece that you're looking at visually. So you're gonna instantly see the chords in there, and that's how you're gonna use it. So now this sonority is a predominant sonority. It's something like a 4, but maybe you should also count this 2 note. So it's kind of like 2, like diatonic 7th chord of 2 is kind of like this kind of thing. So forget about this yellow note. It's instead of it's red, pink, dark blue, white. That's what's happening in these 3 bars. And here is 1 bar of a dominant chord. It has a pink note, so we'll show it. We'll call it 5/7. It's actually, yes, this has all 4 colors. And then we get back to the tonic and we repeat this phrase twice. But then the very interesting thing happens in this melody, that's why I chose it, is that here we have reharmonization with the same functions but in the major. So you see the dark green is changed into the light green, and we're getting the 1 chord but from the parallel major mode. And here the dark blue note is changed into the light blue note, and we're getting the 2 sonority, or if you will, 2 7th chord sonority, like this predominant sonority in the parallel major mode. And once we establish this major mode, well, 5/7 is the same shared between the major and the minor. That's how just the Western harmony works. It's not a physical principle, it's just how people used to write music throughout the centuries. And they kind of agreed on that at the age of 17th century. And then this stays consistently throughout in the major mode. And it only uses 3 sonorities. And why is actually it's works this way? It's because the melody that we're gonna hear just in a bit is a chromatic melody. And so chromatic melody, normally your melody needs to be in the mode in which you're playing. But if you're playing just all the notes in the semitones, just go down one by one, disregarding the smaller scale, just using the richer palette, then actually you can reharmonize it by going through the parallel modes. It will work anyways. Too much talking, now let's hear it. Okay, that's how our Nera works. And now let's move on. And I'm gonna show you which files you can actually open in this tool. So first you can drag and drop any MIDI file here. It will try to guess the tonic. Sometimes it gets it wrong, and it will get you. It will try to paint it to you somehow. Then here, if you fall down in any link, you can see in the rock tab, you can see lots of musicians, lots of artists, and lots of songs. The yellow ones means I tried to annotate it, maybe, and actually it's a multi-instrumental, so you can walk around. But also I have a plugin which I can share with you if you send me a message via email or anyhow, which helps you to open any piece from the MuseScore in one click. So let me show you how it works. Let's take Feliz Navidad. So it's a pretty familiar piece, so probably someone did other arrangements of it. Let's see if we can see what's going on in there. So as you can see here, it's an instrumental arrangement. So it's a violin 1, violin 2, viola, violoncello, contrabass. So it's a quintet of string quintet. And now in my plugin, you can just Okay, so what can you see here? So first of all, you can see the same harmonic ideas. That is a 4-chord, for instance, it's instantiated here, and for it to be played in string quintet, certain notes of it should be played by certain instruments. That's what the arranger does. It splits the notes between different instruments. So first, of course, you can solo any instrument as in any other player. As you can see, the violin one is most likely playing the main melody, and other instruments are somehow with a rich texture are trying to play it, trying to help it with the harmony, and the bass is doing very interesting walking kind of things. Okay. So one cool button I also have, which lets you merge these 5 notes, 5 tracks, 5 voices into the single one, so that you can see the bigger picture in all instruments on the same stave. So let's play from here. Okay, so that's basically what you can do with the MuseScore. Now let's move on and discuss a bit more concepts. So I'm gonna play you the entertainer, and with entertainer, which is a ragtime at the turn of the 20th century by Scott Joplin. There are some chromatic notes which we haven't seen before. So it's a major piece throughout, but with some interesting notes. So for instance, you can see the flat 7, which has certain meaning in this context. So if we try to find this chord, white, gray, light green, and orange, we'll find it here. It's 5/7 4, so it's an applied chord, and usually the applied chords, 5/7 applied chords, they work by targeting this what's after this slash. So the next chord is most likely gonna be just what's written in there. And well, actually, that's exactly the case. If I highlight just these two chords, you can see this is 5, 7 to 4, and this is 4, and that's what's happening here. And now I'll show you the interactivity of my tool. So actually, you can always recolor the tonic. Just by clicking on any note, you can make it a tonic. So for instance, pretty much any note you can make a tonic. It's just up to you how to make the coloring so that it will help you by comparing these pieces with other pieces and generally with your understanding of Western harmony. Now let's get back to the normal tonic. I guess it was this one. And the applied chords, how they work is by locally having this sort of a modulation. So we kind of modulate briefly to this tonic, which in 4, the root note is pink. So let's select this pink note just for these 2 bars. Okay, so you will see how modulation appears in my system. It has several markers, actually. So these are the markers that we go 5 semitones up to the F. This we go 5 semitones down back to the tonic of C. And this tonal grid, which was present everywhere as well, this kind of whitish gradient, it's a start of every new octave from the tonic. And this auxiliary line is a line on which the gray note, the 5 pitch, is living. So here it is changed on the modulation, is redrawn from the new note. And again, here was our 5, 7 to 4 sonority, here was our 4 sonority. Now, according to this tonic, it's perfectly 5, 7 to 1. So let me enable 5, 7 to 1 so that you can compare the colors. So if we think of it as a modulation, it's 5, 7 to 1. But if we don't consider it a modulation, then we need a kind of like more complex notation, which is 5, 7 to 4, and which is called tonicization, and which is actually the problem in analysis, where you select modulation, where you select the tonicization. And so here the same thing is happening, but the applied chord is different, the target chord is different. This is 5, 7 to 5, which you can distinguish by this sharp 4 pitch, which I try to make like a black note. And these 2 notes, by the way, have the dots because they're not present in the standard contexts of minor and major. So this is flat 2, it's just like a Phrygian note, this is kind of a Lydian note. And here, again, if we try to mark this modulation, then it will perfectly work. Just for these 2 bars, we have this tonicization, which is having 5, 7 locally. And this chord is actually, in this chord, we can see that this is not a modulation in towards the stable tonic, because this orange pitch actually makes you a 7 chord. It's a 1, 7 here, so it can't be like a tonic. It's just a sort of like motion happens throughout. Motion continues here, the harmonic motions, this pink note in our original coloring. So that's primarily what's happening in the ragtime, and also there are lots of passing notes. And let me get you a brief explanation of the note heights that I've chosen. So on the standard piano roll, you may have seen so far that the note heights are like 1/12 of each octave. In my case, are twice as higher. So like 6 notes are fitting into 1 octave by height. This is just so you can easier grasp the intervals visually. So the interval of major third, like the lower interval in the major chord, which is gonna be just the whole of a standard height of 1 note. This is a minor third, this is again a minor third. And when the 2 notes are adjacent, that's mean major second. So that's most likely only happening in dominant 7 chords, this thing. And that's how you navigate the intervals. And in this passing things, if you see them going by semitones, then you will see this kind of like one note is just above the middle line of another note. That's how it looks like in the intervals. You kind of, the colors won't help you. This is where you need to see them, how they are located relative to one another. So with this explanation, let's hear this ragtime. Yeah, so as you've seen, there's a lot of chromaticism. There's applied chords to other scale degrees, and there's also some other chords which probably are not named, just I wrote it here in this very context. But the thing about music theory is that actually this is like the chords that are a mark of style, and they are repeating throughout many pieces, and they are described by music theorists, and you can learn by them and slowly incorporate into your composition, into your improvisation, to sound just like that guy. So the idea of how you're gonna be approached a task by writing a new ragtime is probably you can open many ragtimes by Scott Joplin in this coloring. You can notice whether he's using the same harmonic patterns consistently. So for instance, let's open the Mapliff rag. So what can we see here? So this chord, for instance, this chromatic chord is probably one fully diminished instead of what I've wrote here. but the idea of this combination is probably consistently used in the mark of this style. Let's hear just this like passage, just this maybe like one line, right? And so we've seen this chord here, but also it was ours in this entertainer somewhere here, also leading to the one major chord. And we kind of have a hypothesis by this time, because we haven't seen this chord anywhere else, that in order to write a successful ragtime, of course, you need to know the rhythm, you need to figure out how to rhythmically and texturally arrange the chords. But if you also care about giving the feeling of a ragtime by using the harmonies that are specific to either the style of a Scott Joplin or generally to the style of ragtime, then you kind of need to grasp the harmony that was used there. And this is what you can do by processing sources. And again, another way by processing sources is you go to here, to the MuseScore, you search for ragtime or any other style you need to grasp, and then open these examples one by one, and using my plugin, which I can send to you, you can open and roll and try to see what's going on there and whether you can understand the structure. Maybe this texturally, maybe this how he is instantiating these chords with the root, other three notes of the chord, fifth, and the whole chord. Maybe that's the hallmark of that style. You need to analyze it. And now let me tell you that actually this idea of a coloring, it's not solely the piano roll thing. It's not kind of like just a new notation that I'm trying to propose in order to replace all the existing sheet music, standard sheet music, which is used throughout centuries, and tons of books are written in it. Actually, this is just an idea, and this is the same ragtime entertainer. But here what I'm coloring is I'm coloring the very same sheet music in which it was distributed throughout these years. And I'm coloring in the same system. Well, I need to adjust it just a bit because my background is not black, it's white right now. But the ideas, the main principles with light-dark opposition and with cool-warm opposition for the functionality, it's all in here as well. So you can use the script to color your sheet music, and contact me if you want to do that, because I want to help you with this method if it's useful for you. Let's hear just a bit, just like the start, maybe until the measure 20. Sorry for this pink background, it will interfere a bit with the coloring, but that's where we are right now. Okay, so you see that the colors are somewhat the same, and like the green with the two neutral colors is one chord. This orange signifies some chromaticism, which is 5/7 to 4. This is the 4 chord in cool colors, it's predominant, and so on and so on. So coloring is the same, and you can stay within the sheet music where you were and still get benefits from easier navigating the structure, the harmony, and the arrangement of Western music by adding the colorings to your lifestyle, to your processes. Now, the last thing I'm gonna analyze today and show in playing is this Beethoven Piano Sonata number 5, Opus 10, number 1, first movement. We're gonna analyze it just briefly. I'm not gonna explain the whole sonata form, but just something. So I'm gonna skip one repetition, one reprise of the exposition. So we're gonna start with the measure 106, which is basically the beginning if you skip the one repetition of the exposition. So this is the first theme, and the first theme is in minor, and it's in Beethoven style, there are a bit different chords are used. So the hallmark of style again is which chords, which harmonies are used. So Beethoven is using one. Here it is using two fully diminished 7 chord, and this is very like a classical tool. And in standard in like modern popular music or rock music, this is not your go-to chord which you use throughout each and every piece. And this is how you make and get in kind of hear this feeling of the early 19th century, late 18th century common practice style. What else is he using here? So this is our 5/7, the most natural dominant 7th chord, and that's basically what's happening in this theme. The chord arpeggiation, like a Mannheim line or whatever they call it, Mannheim rocket, chord arpeggiation, then a bit of playing with what he just established. Then this is the transition to the secondary theme, which he goes in modulating the same idea with throughout 3 regions. And you can see one cool thing happening here is that this idea, he'll repeat it 3 times, but this time he is repeating it in a parallel minor key, where again our sense of our coloring in where we have parallel minor, just the darker, with the darker shades of green, but the same natural 7 leading tone yellow comes in play and comes helps us to see that very structure, see what exactly Beethoven did here. You see it like verbatim replayed 3 times, but this light blue is getting this dark blue, and light green in harmony getting this dark green, and here the repetition as well, and some sort of a development. And this is the dominant pedal, which now we finally get to the secondary theme, and the secondary theme is in major mode. So this is the main opposition of this sonata movement, is that we had a primary theme in minor, we have a secondary theme in major, and by the sonata theory, how the sonata form is structured is that we'll have certain development, but in the recapitulation, we're gonna have both themes replayed, and both themes should be in the same minor mode key. So this is our recapitulation. This main theme is verbatim, then some new development with a bit of tweaking into which keys he's going into. So you see this pattern in the transition is repeated first twice in major and now in a minor mode. So something a bit changed. We need to have a careful look at it. And this is our secondary theme. And this is a cool thing about this very movement is that he's actually in recapitulation, he's starting it in a different key, in a major key, which is not what's gonna happen at the very end of the sonata form. And the listeners, because they know how the sonata is structured, they kind of know it, and they have this joy of experiencing that, okay, we're not done yet here, something's weird is happening, and he actually modulates after a while and repeats. As you can see, this is a verbatim repeat, but again, with a parallel minor mode, and this is actually what should happen in the sonata form. The secondary theme is in the same minor in which it should be, in C minor of this sonata movement, and this is how it ends. He kind of reuses the material that he used in the exposition. We're gonna hear it, this thing, we're gonna hear it twice in the exposition and recapitulation. And the development, I only will say maybe something about the start of the development. This is the main theme, but again transposed into the major instead of minor. So we use this 2 diminished 7 chord, which is a valid predominant, I guess, here, or maybe, well, it's just a chromaticism. It's not a very natural standard predominant because it's in minor here, whereas we are sort of like in a major mode. We started with the major tonic. Well, here is kind of like, how to say, loose region by coupling. And then some new idea in the development, repeated verbatim, 5 semitones up, and something cool things happening. This is a dominant pedal, and here there are chord sonorities, which by now you can probably already know. This is our 5, this is our 4 in minor. Sorry, I should be doing that's in minor because we are actually targeting the minor chord, the minor 1 tonic. This is sort of a 3, and this is kind of like a 5/7 thing. And so this is also an interesting thing, because here what's happening with the all pitch classes, if you get them together, there we actually 8 notes, not just 7, which are called kind of like the mixed minor. So the minor is usually used so that you have all these 7 pitches, but on top of that you need this leading tone, the yellow pitch, for the 5 for the dominant, because the dominant is going to be major. And this is just how the music, the Western music used to be. Again, this is not some like physics law or any mathematical formula that magically gives you this. And this is just the inertia of style. It's just how people used to write these things. So this is going to be the last one. I'm going to play it and without any more rant or analysis, let's just hear it.